Island Park Fitness Podcast. Here with Mike Hyland today,
What's up, everybody?
fresh out of the ocean. Had a
Oh,
swim
yeah.
already today.
You know it, bro.
Very nice. All right, gonna get your origin story. So, where did it all begin? When did you start sport training?
I think I started sport training or playing sports at a young age. Started out with soccer, hockey, lacrosse, like that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
eventually I went to high school, like wrestling and
There we go.
doing track. And college, I kind of dropped off the wrestling and just focused solely on crew. I was having a fun time in the fall doing it, to kind of get my endurance and everything ready for winter wrestling at college. And I just fell in love with the sport, and the wrestling team wasn't all that at the college I went to, so I just stuck with crew for the 4 years.
All right. So that was a pretty wide range.
Yeah,
Can't picture you on the soccer field.
yeah, it was a long time ago. I think I stopped once the travel teams really started to get, too much, too many good kids and whatnot, and it's just way too competitive at that age. It's probably around like maybe around like 9, 10 years old, and you got kids out there that are just doing like backflips, kicking soccer goals. It's like, what the
Where
hell?
did you grow
Like,
up in
where would you
Brazil?
get these guys from?
Where Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Limbrook.
Lynbrook. Okay.
Yeah, Limbrook, Nassau County.
Cool.
So not too far from here.
All right, awesome. So, go from some basic soccer. How was the wrestling like?
Wrestling was good. My friend, a good buddy of mine, he got me into it. I had tried it in elementary school around like maybe fourth, fifth grade, and it didn't really stick then. Like I wasn't as into it. I wanted more team sports, but then something I guess clicked in high school because I went to Kellenberg and they dropped the hockey team after freshman year.
Okay.
One brawl too many with Chaminade. I'm sure people have heard the stories about that. But then the next year I got into wrestling and everything, and I really enjoyed like an individualistic sport. Like I don't think I ever really had that in sports and everything growing up.
Nice.
There was more ownership. I
So you
think I
guys
was seeking at that point.
just had a bunch of hockey players learning how to wrestle all of a sudden?
You had a couple guys that came over from the team, because I mean it was my freshman year. They cut the team, so I picked up wrestling sophomore year, and just took to it naturally. Like
Okay.
it's fun. I
Very
enjoyed the
interesting.
intensity of it, I guess.
So what was your first like weightlifting experience?
I started lifting weights in eighth grade. Yeah.
Nice.
My dad, he had like a Soloflex machine, a couple other things in the garage, and like I started, what like he had the videos for it, and I, like saw the people on there. I was like, oh man, like they got like strong, muscular physiques. Like I want to, like I want to look good and everything. Like
What was the machine called?
the Soloflex, it's like the
Like
pre-Bowflex machine,
okay.
basically.
Was
Yeah,
it
but you
cable
could do.
resistance and stuff?
They had like these plastic. It was almost like tough rubber bands that you would lift against,
Okay.
but you could do a variety of movements. And like I just picked up the book. My dad had the manual for it. I watched some of the videos. I started replicating the movements, like just to try and gain some strength. And I saw really good, you know, I mean, strength gains early on at a young age, and it was encouraging.
What was like the motivation for that, you think? Was that to get better at sport,
It was
to
better,
to
get
look
better
better?
at sports, look better, feel better, have, build some confidence, especially going, into your senior, what is essentially like the senior year of your elementary school, eighth grade, and then going into, high school and all. And yeah, I think I wanted to, be a little bigger too when I was playing hockey,
Okay.
because I knew like, check and everything. Like the next year you're going into ice hockey more, and, it's going to be rougher. So I figured I should start, building up some strength for that, bulking up a bit.
And what was like a typical diet when you grew up?
Ah, that's coming from an Irish household and everything. It's probably lacking. I mean, we had the meat and potatoes, like the bare bones, but I don't think mom really know too much about spice. So, I mean, as far as green goes, I mean, maybe we'd have a salad once in a while, and she'd get the green beans out of the can.
Okay. The green beans with the can was delicious.
Yeah, I focused more on nutrition once I started wrestling because you got to make weight and
Yeah,
everything,
yeah.
and that's where like everything started to really click for me.
Well, even for a lot of wrestlers, it's a slice of pizza and starve yourself.
Yeah,
Were you?
it's an unhealthy approach that way, and a lot of guys did it. I mean,
Yeah.
preseason, like they don't really put any thought into it in the fall, and then all of a sudden it's wintertime, and you gotta make weight in the next week or two, and you see all these guys in the rubber suits and
Yeah.
just putting on every piece of clothing they can find to try and make weight. Not that I haven't done it, but some of these guys, I mean, they're unrealistic. They're trying to drop like 5, 10 pounds overnight. Like I can understand one or two, but that's like you're not making it. Sorry.
Okay, so we get into college. Does any sports
Yeah.
carry over?
Like I said, I was trying to stick with wrestling and everything. I had a few letters, from colleges looking to, kind of recruit me and whatnot. But I wound up going to SUNY Maritime, and I went there to get my engineering degree, like focus on my studies in that regard. Like I wanted something more hands-on. And
Very
once I
nice.
saw like the training ship and everything there, I knew I belonged there. And then sports were kind of secondary at that point. I was like, all right, education, sports, have my fun on the side where I can. And the wrestling, it was D3 team, but it wasn't that good of a program. Like there were maybe like 9, 10 guys on a team. Just
Oh
wasn't
wow,
very good.
yeah, that's a pretty small team.
Yeah, I tried it for a week or two. Went to like first tournament there. I think I ran late into the season too because of crew. Like we were doing well on that like my freshman year, and I wanted to stick with that. I didn't want to
How did
cut the team early.
how does one get into rowing? That's interesting.
uh, so college, SUNY Maritime, they're right on the water.
Yeah.
And it's just, you're looking at it all the time, like when you're standing there at attention. It was a quasi military school, they say.
Okay.
So in the regiment of cadets, you're just standing out there information, looking at the water, and it's like, that's pretty nice. Like, I like being on the water. Like, I grew up going to the beach and everything, Long Beach here. And I saw, like, like a few of my friends that I made, like, going on the rowing team. And what, it's like a club sport there.
Okay.
But they encouraged me, like to join, it'd be good, like a few of them knew, like, it was like good wrestling and all that. And I was trying to, like run and keep up my endurance and all that. They're like, oh, it'd be good for that. I was like, yeah, it looks good. Like, give it a whirl. And sure enough, like, I got all into it.
Awesome. So like, give me like a week of crew. Do you like on the water 5 days? Are you inside on the rowing machine here and there? Like, what does that look like?
So the fall season is a bit longer than the races are a bit longer than the spring. Fall, you're mainly focusing on a 5K race.
Okay.
In the spring, it's more 2K. Like those are the big numbers that you're going after, and you're focusing on. So the fall, it's like you're going. I mean, a normal day, we'd start practice at like 5:30, 6 a.m. We're out on the
Yeah,
water.
it's the early one.
Or if it's rough out, you can't go on the water because we're rowing on the old East River. I mean, those could be any conditions with the wind. So
Oh,
sometimes we'd have a dry land practice where we'd row like anywhere from like a 5K to a 10K and doing intervals during the week. We typically would do more volume in the beginning of the week and then taper off towards the end just to keep up like a sprint pace, what we'd want to hold like in the boat on the 5K on that weekend because our regattas would be on Saturday.
okay.
And it was similar in the spring, but with more of like, we do more sprints, like more intervals. We, be running hill sprints and stuff like that. I mean, the running
Wow.
joke was we ran more miles than the cross country and track teams. Yes, we'd practice about an hour or two in the morning, and then we'd meet up again in the afternoons for like another hour or two. So uh, about 4 to 5 hours of my day was rowing.
Yeah, that's an experience.
Or yeah, crew team. Yeah.
Uh, so is that how you got into like CrossFit style training? The rower, is that the link? Or
CrossFit started for me after college, 2 years after college. I had a few friends that had started CrossFit. Like I was just doing the normal global gym thing after college, but I had started a job. I was shipping out. I'd be gone 6 months out of the year and back at that point. And I guess it was actually Amanda Motisi.
okay, yeah.
So she got me into CrossFit because she had gone to the gym where this one used to be, the original CrossFit Island Park, whatever you want to call it. It was CrossFit King of the Beach.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was right there. I was living in East Atlantic Beach. It was half a mile from my house. I saw all these people running and doing all sorts of stuff inside, dropping the weights. You can hear them like I'd be over at the beach house having a drink, and you'd hear all these guys and see them. I mean, I remember seeing Pat Mullaney and his wife when they were here, like going running outside and everything. And I was like, that looks pretty cool. Like I want to try it. And then finally, like, took me 2 years after college. I finally, like stepped in the doors and immediately got hooked. It felt like, going into crew all over again. Like this is a totally new experience. I want to immerse myself in it.
Awesome. So like, was there training on the boat? Did you guys have equipment? Like, what did that look like?
When I was shipping out,
Yeah.
we had a we had basic gym equipment, kind of like what you'd find at a hotel. Like we had
Okay.
dumbbells. Maybe you get lucky and you get like one of those like I don't know, little squat bars, or they had machines and stuff because they don't really want you like to hurt yourself
Yeah.
with too much weight. You lucky it'd be lucky if you had a Smith machine on board. They normally would have a treadmill, maybe an elliptical, that kind of stuff. Just very basic machinery, but like anything, I mean, you do what you can with what you have.
Yeah.
I did. I actually was doing a lot of P90X the first tour or two I went on.
Okay.
This was just it was easy. It was like body weight. Maybe you throw like some dumbbells in with it, but you got decent results.
I used to train a guy who would ship out all the time, and he'd just find things to hang off of, and they're constantly yelling at him to stop.
Yeah,
He'd be
that
out there in the rain, hanging off the
so
side of a rail.
funny. Yeah, funny story. Like I used to do CrossFit on the boats and everything when I first started out, and like you learn the kipping pull-ups and everything else, and I used to do kipping pull-ups on one of the cranes on the ladder.
Okay.
They had this big, it was like a circle, like a guardrail around the crane ladder. Not perfect, for doing kipping pulls, but I do them on there, and they caught me a couple of times, kind of like, what you doing, Mike? I'd
This
be doing
fucking
toes
guy
to bar.
bikes on the crane again. Get him.
Yeah, so I'd have to like sneak my workouts in when I knew people were at dinner or something,
That is
or
hilarious.
later at night. I had to be a little sneaky when I did movements like that people would consider dangerous. I remember in the engine room, we had lifting straps I put through one of the beams and everything, and I was doing muscle ups on that, like lifting straps.
This sounds like a Dirty Dancing
Oh,
movie where they outlawed working out. You're trying to
yeah,
do it in the dark somewhere.
yeah. I got on one drill ship, and I brought rings with me this trip, easy
Nice.
to pack in your luggage, and I put them on the side where I could. They had like a pull up bar and some other stations. It was just outside the gym area on that ship, and that gym was better, but it just didn't have the overhead space to be doing like muscle ups or anything. And I put them on the side, but the issue is that where I put those rings was very close to the guardrail and overboard on the ship.
Okay.
So it was like one night, a few guys are out there smoking. They saw me doing muscle ups, and they literally saw me like hanging over the side of the ship because we had rolled, and my feet were literally over the guardrail doing muscle ups. And even I was like, oh, this is dangerous, but I'm not gonna quit. Like I'm gonna, get through my set. And I got down there like, dude, you are crazy. Like all the Southern boys are like, man, you New Yorkers are built different or something. Like, what
All
the
right.
hell's wrong with you?
That's awesome. That's some dedication.
Yeah.
Hanging over the side of your boat.
Yeah, it was dedication of just pure being young and stupid at that point.
Awesome. So you've been all through the competition scene. Like I've competed with you in partner competitions and stuff.
That's right.
So
Yeah, that was what was that, the brick competition, right?
oh yeah, we competed against each other in brick.
That's right.
Competed with each other out in Suffolk. I forget which one that was called. Co-Nation.
Yeah, that's right.
Carnival game.
Carnival games. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that was a fun one.
good stuff.
Yeah, we still got it. Going to masters now. Are you 35 yet? I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 35 year end of the
Which
month. So
I've actually been
right
looking
there.
at some competitions, and it seems to all be 40 plus now. Which
Ah,
waited a long time to get here. What's
damn
going on?
it. Yeah.
Why are we jumping up again?
It's like finally I'll be on the younger side, the right side of 35 for competition.
But then you are venturing out a little bit now. You are going to the triathlon world.
Yes, yes.
So we want to talk to you about that a little bit. What was the main motivation there?
Just I had done the sprint triathlon out in Point Lookout last year, that town of Hempstead one, and I had a lot of fun with that. I mean, I a bike that I had just found, like a hybrid bike, and I did it with that. And you get guys out there in beach cruisers and stuff, but it was fun going like racing from the water to a bike and then to a run. I thought, this is kind of similar to CrossFit. It's not just very, monostructural, like you're only doing one thing, like just running or just biking or
Yeah.
just swimming. It's you're doing all three, and you got to be able to transition fast into the other one if you're going to be, competitive or trying to do well.
Yeah. So how would you say the training has been compared to? I mean, you come in here, you're throwing weights around, you're doing gymnastics, you're running. Now, although it's different, it is still run, swim, bike.
Yeah.
So how's that been going?
It was a bit of a transition. Like it took good mental adjustment and physical adjustment, especially at first. I mean, when I first started training, I think I was a little over 200 pounds, and now I'm right around the 185 mark, between 185, 190.
Okay, so down at least 10.
Yeah, so weight doesn't help you when you're trying to
Yeah, I was
run
gonna
and
say,
bike your fastest and swim. Um,
can pick you out of the triathlon crowd.
yeah,
This guy doesn't look like the other guys.
definitely not. I mean, yeah, some of these guys are just sticks that, are really competitive with it.
Yeah, you got
But
bones just running.
yeah, so going from like, slinging weights around, I mean, it's a different type of endurance. It's still there. You still have that base. As far as, zone two goes, I mean, we typically train in the gym here twice a week. We do like zone two, endurance type workouts. So that had some carryover, but going for these longer distances, I just had to add to it. Typically, like a training week for me, during the week, it's like you're doing interval sets. Maybe you're training up to an hour or so. And then on the weekends is when I would really get after it. Like the other day, or each Saturday is a bike and like a run. And typically, like you're going on the bike 2 hours, you're running for an hour or so, just building that capacity. And then today, I kind of did like a recovery swim of like, a mile and a half or so.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes you come in here, you do a 6 minute workout, you're done. Like you're laying on the
Yeah,
floor.
yeah,
It,
that's whole different. You're
yeah,
going to like zone seven right there,
yeah.
especially if you're going in at that pace.
So
So yeah, different type of, the different types of intensity. Like you're giving it your all, but you got to understand the time is the factor. You got to pace yourself accordingly, and that's one of the big things I think I learned here was learning how to pace workouts. Like the big thing I concentrate on is my breathing.
yeah,
Like, am I getting out of breath during this? Like, it's supposed to be like a 20-minute, endurance type workout, like an engine day. And, you're supposed to be able, if you're training zone two properly, you should be able, like Rob says, you say, like, do this again, like, no problem. But if you're going out all hot, you're going to burn out and you're going to have a miserable time and you're not training the way you should.
yeah.
You're not hitting that stimulus.
So like, how would you compare? Like, say you do a 8 minute AMRAP, all out, open style. You're going as hard as you can. You say that's like a harder suffering, but it's a short amount of time. Whereas like if you're on a bike for an hour and a half, like
Yeah.
obviously there's some suffering there, but it's just
It's
kind of
it's a
slow death.
more spaced out suffering is the best way I can describe it. Like it still hurts just as much. It's just coming at you a lot slower. Like it's you feel your muscles getting tired, but it's not at the same rate as, going in and doing like an 8 minute workout, like I don't know, say Jackie or something
Yeah,
else. It's just wrapping your mind around it. Like, all right, how do I pace this? How do I not get myself out of breath? Like, how do I, check my heart rate? I mean, that's like some of the big things I've had to learn, doing this. And, I have like some training aids. Like, I have the Garmin. It tells me my heart rate. It can tell me what pace I'm running, this, that. It'll yell at me. Like, it's almost like a shock collar. Like, I was running the other day on the boardwalk doing my intervals with my now fiance Christine. She's riding her bike. I'm doing
congrats.
thank you. I'm doing the run. She's on the bike. Old Mickey Rocky style. Like, come on, Mike, let's go. And all of a sudden, I'm getting shocked on my wrist. Like you're going too fast. Like you're past your pace. And I'm like, no, it tells me not to. I was like, we actually got to slow down for this part.
Okay.
And then it's all right. Like time to speed up again. So
So shock collar training is what you're
yeah,
going with.
yeah. I never realized like how much technology there is, to help with these kind of races. I mean, it makes it kind of nice because you can, I mean, you could get as geeked out as you want to get with the
Yeah.
data. Like it records everything, these smart devices, and then it'll go onto an app and you can analyze it there, see how your metrics are. Like, are you measuring up to when you first started? Are you doing better? Are you peaking? Are you, now I'm in my tapering phase. Like, are you recovering well? Like, are you going to be prime on race day? Like, you can see all that on there. It's amazing,
It's
really.
awesome,
Like
yeah.
the technology nowadays. Like, I had no idea this was out there.
And you are 1 week out.
We are 1 week out, a little less. Races on Saturday. We're doing this podcast on Sunday here.
Yeah. And you are doing it to raise money for Gary Sinise Foundation.
Yes, Yeah, Gary is a friend of my dad's. My dad,
Really?
yeah. Gary Sinise, if you don't know, he's Lieutenant Dan from
Yeah.
the Forrest Gump movie, and he's been in a lot of other movies, but that's the one everyone knows him from. And he's, he's become a friend of the family over the years. My dad met him. He was doing charity services a few years back. You know, when my dad was getting close to retirement, he started doing a lot more with like fire family transport, wounded veterans. He goes down to like Walter Reed every year. Like he's played Santa Claus for the guys down there, the wounded soldiers and
That's
all.
awesome.
And Gary and a few other celebrities, they would make appearances. They're also, they got their own charity organizations and everything. And what he does, he helps build homes for veterans. And being a veteran myself, that really appealed to me. And you get a lot of guys out there. It's an unspoken majority, veterans that are really suffering. I mean, I thank God I'm not in that category where I'm suffering, and these guys go through a lot. Some of them waking up, they don't have the means to buy food. They don't have a roof over their head. They've got injuries. They've got PTSD. They got all sorts of issues, and
Yeah.
it's nice to have people that are looking out for them. Like Gary and others.
Yeah, definitely there should be some help focused on this. The link for that is going to be in your Instagram. We also just posted up on the whiteboard in
Yep.
class. There's
Thank
just
you.
a QR code you guys can scan and can donate to the cause.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh,
it goes direct to the Gary Sinise Foundation. It's on my GoFundMe page, and yeah, I'll
also,
post it again, I guess, in that Facebook group and everywhere.
yeah, I'll share it. So like a normal triathlon distance, we looked up. We got 0.93 on the swim. You're looking at a 24.8 bike. You're looking at 6.2 mile run. You are doing Ironman,
Yeah, half
so
Iron Man.
half
Yep.
Ironman. So this is they call it the 70er, 0.70.
Yeah, 70.3.
Okay, so these are up in these distances a little bit. Your swim is up to a 1.2 mile.
Yep,
Your bike is up to a 56 mile bike.
that's right.
That seems like quite a bit.
Hey, it is.
And then,
Believe me, my butt knows it from that seat. A
yeah.
lot of time in the saddle.
And then a 13.1 mile run to finish. So you got a full
Yep.
half marathon there.
Yep, half marathon to finish, right down in Jones Beach on the boardwalk.
Now, in your training, have you done these distances back to back, like one time straight through at all?
No, I
Oh,
have not. I've done some, they call them brick sets, where you'll do, mostly it's like a brick. A brick consists of like two parts. You can combine them any way you like. Mostly it's like a bike into a run, because that, for most, is the hardest transition. Getting off the bike, you know, getting done with that, unclipping, and then going for a run. Like it's a very unfamiliar muscle pattern.
okay.
You're using, your leg muscles on the bike, but then it's totally different as you transition into that run, and getting used to that is key.
Yeah, I imagine.
So that's why you kind of do them together. You can, I mean, my other buddy, he did the swim, and then he went into a run to get ready. I mean, people do it, swim to bike, bike to run, bike to swim. I mean, but mostly it's bike to run.
Okay. So you said you've done a sprint before. Is that the 0.93 swim, 24.8 bike, or was this
It
what?
was close. It was a 3/4 mile swim. This was the town of Hempstead one in Point Lookout. That was a 3/4 mile swim, a 10K bike, and then a 5K. Yeah, 10-mile bike, and then a 5K run to finish. So
All right, so it's not.
bit more of a sprint than
Yeah.
I did that as haphazard as you could as an amateur, but
So
I wound up doing all right with it. I mean,
I love how you didn't. Your brain just didn't say, "Yeah, go from the sprint to the normal one to the Ironman." You just went, "Yeah, sprint.
yeah, I
Yeah, let me
seem to
go
have a
Ironman."
pattern of going all in on things.
All right. So what are like the expectations? You have a time in mind, or is it just please let me finish, or what?
I should be able to finish well under. They have cutoff times. I forget. I think it's like 10 hours or so, but I should be well under that. I'm aiming for around 6. If I get under 6, that'd be amazing. But we'll see how course conditions are that day. I mean, any bit of wind, and I'm gonna have to adjust those expectations accordingly.
And 6, we're saying 6 hours
6 hours.
of
Yep.
triathlon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking it should be about 35, 40 minutes swimming. The bike should be a little over 2.5 hours, and then the remaining time you have
Wow.
there is, the run, the 13.1.
You have any injuries going on with this training?
No, no.
Perfect.
When I first started training, I had seen Jeremy because my knees were really bothering me, and there is some tendonitis in there. But
Okay.
I think it was mostly, I had older running shoes, and I was a bit heavier then. Like I said, when I first started out, like I was around 200 or so pounds, and now
Yeah.
I'm down like around 185. So I think getting better running shoes, like I use Newtons now, they have like a good sole, good padding in the midfoot area for a midfoot striker,
Mm.
like the ideal running positioning. And, it really helped me, like the impact. I think before I had too much cushioning in the heel with the shoes I had, and it was throwing my running form off, and I never noticed like how much it really affected me until I started training the longer distances, and I'm going like 5+ miles, and all of a sudden my knees are just really hurting.
Yeah.
But I think as I continued to drop weight and I got better running shoes that forced better positioning, I haven't had any issues.
How tall are you?
um about 5'9",
Yeah, so
just shy, just shy.
so it's 5'9", 200 pounds. I
I'm
mean,
over 5'9" in shoes, no problem.
we're talking NFL running back,
Yeah,
like going for 6 hour long
I'm the ideal
distances.
CrossFit height and weight. 5'9" at like
Yeah.
190, 195.
You ever try the Vaporfly shoe?
No, what is that?
It's like the popular marathon runner one, the Nike one, I think.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I've never
is that
worn
the
it.
one the guy set like the record in the marathon on, like the 2 hours?
I think it is.
Ah,
Yeah.
some of those shoes are actually not allowed by Ironman. Like I
Oh,
had to
okay.
look up in the guidebook. It's the guidebook itself. It's as long as the run. It's like 56 pages. Like
Yeah.
you got to go through all that, and in there they contain what you can and cannot wear. And there's certain sneakers that are listed that you know you're not going to be able to wear on the race day.
Anyone do it barefoot?
I wouldn't put it past some people. Some of the people I've met are pretty crazy, and I think some use like remember when you first started CrossFit, everyone had these I forget what they call them, like those little slip-on like
Toe shoe
toe
things.
shoe
Yeah.
things. Like it's basically like running barefoot. I think a few of those guys wear them.
Okay. I've
So
always been
you
interested
never
in
know.
those.
I mean, it's gonna be this is the largest Ironman that they've ever had, like as far as participants go. I forget the exact number, but it's a few thousand, and I'm sure some of them will have barefoot. Or you actually cannot do it barefoot. No, you have to have some kind of running shoe
Oh
on.
wow.
That I remember now is in the rule book,
Okay.
and it's for their no one, they don't want a liability issue there, I guess.
Interesting. All right, man. Well, we wish you the best of luck. I can't wait to hear your time and get you
Yeah.
back in the gym afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. I'm I'm itching to come back, do group class, and see how my fitness and training carries over.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely start building up the squat and deadlift strength, all that again.
yeah,
You
man.
know, then we'll see how the endurance, translates over. But
Maybe we'll do a follow-up one with some hot sauce, and you could tell us how it
now there's no getting out of it. I can't use the excuse, "Oh, I'm training for a triathlon." Yeah,
went.
if you want to see me sweat that, oh yeah. I don't know if I'll make it past wing three, but yeah, maybe we'll try
All right, man.
it.
Well, thank you,
Appreciate it.
brother, and best of luck.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ryan.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.